Yeah.
All that matters.
Luckily, you have access to sports trainers here, so I'm sure.
Yeah, I was doing some stem and ice this morning, and it's not helping much.
Pinch a nerve or something, you think?
I don't know. I was doing RDLs,
Yeah.
and I wasn't going very heavy at all. And as I was kind of like coming back up, I felt my back do like that.
I slipped out.
I don't know, but I've never felt anything like that before in my life.
Pulled muscle, or hopefully.
I hope it's just a muscle.
But you know, though, even if it is a disc, just rehab it, and because they can get that to slide back in. Like, don't let them cut you open. Don't let anyone cut you open. I'm telling you from experience.
All right, you guys can go ahead and start.
So, Coach, I know when it's 43-0, a lot of people are like, "Wow, that was perfect." But your job as a coach is to find those things you got to work on. So, after watching the film, what's the things you like, what's the things you didn't like?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about the game of football is no matter what the score is, there's always something to work on. Obviously, very pleased with our program and the way that we came out in our first game. I thought defensively we played fantastic all night long. To hold that team, that offense to 0 points, I think is just a testament to Coach Foskey and those guys on the defensive side, and just how hard they played all night long. They're opportunistic, got after the quarterback, made some huge plays and got some turnovers, which was awesome to see. Offensively, came out really, really hot, went right down the field right off the first drive and scored. Went for 2 and got it. Felt really good right off the bat, and really credit to South Dakota Mines. They made us earn it offensively. Proud of Coach Dodge. In his first time as an offensive coordinator calling a game, against teams like that in the past, we've really struggled offensively to move the ball both on the ground and in the air when they're just going to play soft coverage and make sure they keep everything in front of us. And he did a really good job of mixing in some quick pass game. Our run game was efficient, especially in, they were going to out overload us in the box. They were +1 in the box pretty much the entire night. And so to be able to rush for almost 150 yards was awesome. To be able to throw the ball the way that we did was awesome, and really got those guys going. And even on teams, teams made an impact. Would have liked to make a bigger impact. We should have had 2 blocked kicks on Thursday night. One got called back because of an offsides on a guy that didn't even impact the play, but we should have had two block kicks on Thursday night. And just really overall great team win, great team effort. Some things we need to clean up. I think the biggest thing was just some of the self-inflicted penalties. I understand there's going to be times in a game where you may get a holding call, you may get a face mask call or something of that nature, but the false starts and lining up offsides are things that are completely within our control, and we've got to fix moving forward.
When you think about just some of the guys are seeing more time this year, to see them come out in that kind of a fluid rhythm, how pleased were you with the execution? I mean, you guys had the game plan, but to see the execution as sharp as it was right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a testament to some of the guys that have been around here and understand what it takes. I think we've got a great group of senior leadership this year. I've said it before. I think our fall camp was probably the most intense fall camp I've ever been around. It was a lot of intensity on both sides of the ball. So it was, realistically, it was a continuation of what I saw in fall camp. We saw every single day it was a battle, offense going against defense, and that's really both of them came out on Thursday night and did a great job.
When you look ahead to Fort Hays, and actually, before we get into that, 3 straight Thursdays to start the year. I mean, do you feel like you've already adjusted, or are you still a little are you still a little out of sorts with the way that schedule kind of turned out?
Yeah, it definitely throughout the week it throws you off. Today is Tuesday, but it's really a Thursday for us, and tomorrow will be Friday, and Thursday will be Saturday for us, and so it definitely throws off your week. But it's been good. I think the biggest thing for us, with these 3 Thursday night games is hopefully we can continue to get a great support here locally from our crowd. And then, moving into Central Missouri, that will give us an extra day of prep going into Colorado Mesa. So outside of this week against Fort Hays, the next 2 weeks, both opponents will have byes before they face us. And so that it was important for me to try to get that last Thursday night game instead of a Saturday night game, so it can give us an extra day to prep for Mesa.
When you come out and you start a season early like that, and you look at all these guys, I know that you see stuff in practice, there's things that you're hoping to see, but you're not sure, because no one is, right, until you see it started. What did you see on Thursday that you were like, yep, that worked out, like that was great, that's what I was hoping to see, and yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, I think, if you look at our team, you would look at the offense and be like, okay, they have most of their returners, starters are coming back on the offensive side. There was a lot of question marks on the defensive side. We lost so many guys up front. We lost so many guys in the back end. Daniel Bone, an three-time All-American. We lost 2 linebackers. There was a lot of question marks there from a production standpoint. A lot of guys played, but they didn't have quite as many reps as some of the guys that were there before. And so it was really pleasing to me to see how they came out on Thursday. It was impressive to watch.
When you look at like Roman and come out and have a game like that, and you've been here, but like just to see him come out like that, what is evolved about his game?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I've seen with Roman is, last year at this time he wasn't starting for us. He came in the fall. What we do offensively is complex, and it took him a while to get comfortable in the system to where he eventually took over the starting position. What he's been able to do with the receivers from the spring and the summer, it's just translating now on to game day. You can tell that they're on the same page, and obviously there's some things that even on Thursday night where, we miss Marcellus Honeycutt deep on a pass play that, honestly we've seen him hit 1 million times in practice. And so it's just a matter of time till some of that stuff starts working itself out in game situations. But he did a really good job of managing the game on Thursday night and getting the ball, not forcing it, but throwing it to the right receiver, the open guy. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Throw it to the guy that's open. And he did a good job of that on Thursday. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of his leadership growth. He was voted a single-digit for us this year, which obviously it shows that the teams respect him, not only as a football player, but also as a leader.
Having seen Reggie a little bit now, are there times where as a coach that you just stand and watch and like you're almost just spectating?
Yeah. You hate to say it, but like you just get used to those plays being made. Like he makes that unbelievable catch in the end zone on Thursday night, and you're like, yeah. Like you just see him do it all the time, and it's a good problem to have, but it's whenever you have Reggie on your team, you're going to get a guy that is going to leave it all out there. He's obviously an unbelievable football player. I think the thing that separates him the most is his competitiveness. He wants to compete in everything that he does, and it carries over to everybody. So it's a lot of fun knowing that you've got him out there on your team wearing a Thunderwolf jersey. It sure gives Roman I'm sure it allows him to sleep a little bit better at night too. So,
Coach, kind of how Danny was talking about Roman a minute ago. It was nice also to be able to get to see Cam take some meaningful snaps in there in the second half after the game kind of got out of hand. How cool was it to be able to get Cam some snaps?
Yeah, I mean it's his first college snaps. He's only a redshirt freshman for us. I think the future is very bright, with him. He's a little bit different than Roman is. He's not quite as big, obviously, as Roman is, but the thing that Cam has is he's a playmaker. When plays break down, protection breaks down, like he's a guy that can make a play with his legs and his arms. He's a very smart kid. Again, ultra competitive, a ton of confidence in himself. It was fun to be able to watch him go out there and operate a little bit. Now, obviously, there's some things that we've got to clean up with him. We were doing a couple quarterback sneaks, and not everybody's set, and we're running it and getting, false start and things of that nature. And so there's some things, obviously, some growing pains that you're going to go through. But it's invaluable to be able to get those reps for him right now. He's one play away. Realistically, one play away from being the guy. And so to be able to get his first reps last Thursday will be huge for his development.
You talked about you've lost a lot on the defensive side, but you guys are a very, very deep team. Caden Rulo, Defensive Player of the Week in the RMAC, picks up kind of right where the Pack defense left off last season. Just kind of talk about Caden's evolution. He's now a junior, and he's kind of taken a step into a more of a leader there on the defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at his production on Thursday because I see it every single day in practice. It seemed like I was actually honestly surprised he didn't get a pick because he seems like he's gotten a pick every single day in fall camp, and he is constantly around the football. He understands leverage. He understands his assignment. He's leading those guys in the back end, and he's just, if the ball's out there being played, he's around it somewhere, and I'm really excited for him. I think he's gonna have a breakout year this year.
Coach, you've also won, looking back to Ben's notes, I believe 17 straight RMAC games. Is that correct, Ben? Okay, yeah. 17 straight RMAC games. Just talk about how, preparation of all your coaching staff, the players, you were just locked in and night out, and have been able to accomplish that impressive feat there.
I didn't even realize that, if I'm being honest with you. I just think it goes back to us focusing on what we can control, which is right now, and I think far too often, teams have success and they start looking down the road and instead of controlling what they can control, which is the moment at hand. And I think our guys have really bought into our process of being present, intentional, consistent. We try to be that every single day. And our goal at the end of the year, you ask any one of our guys, they're not going to say it's to win a national championship or win a conference championship. At the end of the year, we want to be the best team in the country, getting better, and we want to continue to improve every single day. And if we do that and reach our potential, I think we're going to have a shot. But if we don't, it doesn't matter how talented we are. And so I think they buy into that and they take that mentality into every game. They understand that we're going to get everyone's best game. That's what happens when you play here at Csu Pueblo. You're going to get everybody's best game. And so we've got to be ready to give our best game every single Saturday or Thursday for these next couple weeks and as we move forward.
Coach, Thursday's game, has some meaning for you. Obviously, you worked at Fort Hays for about 5 seasons, so kind of talk about the game on Thursday night, preview that the game a little bit for everybody.
Yeah, I was at Fort Hays under Coach Brown for 4 years, and have a lot of respect for him and the way that he runs his program. Obviously, they're ultra successful in a very difficult league. Last year they went 8-3. Just missed the playoffs last year, and honestly, they should have been in the playoffs. They're a very talented football team. They were first in the MIAA last year in total defense and scoring defense, and just a juggernaut on the defensive side. And had a young quarterback that they brought in the middle of the season that really started to catch fire there at the end of the year. And so, I was a little surprised, to be honest with you, with the outcome last week against Angelo, because I expected Fort Hays to win that game. Credit to Angelo and what they've done, and Coach Gersh at Angelo and getting those guys going. That's a really good team, obviously a playoff team and a conference champ last year as well. That's just how much respect I have for Fort Hays and Coach Brown and what he's able to do there. So I know for us this is going to be a huge matchup. Obviously there's regional implications with it as well, with the MIAA being in our region now. There's obviously playoff implications with it as well, as we move forward. And I know it's early to talk about those things, but that's the reality of it. And so when you're playing regional games, there's a reason we wanted to play 2 regional games in our non-conference and both MIAA teams, is because we want to see how we stack up. We want to see where we're at. And so I know Thursday is going to be a really good test for us to see where we're at. I think, I know Fort Hays is a top 25 team in the country, regardless if they're ranked or not. That is a very, very good football team that's going to be coming in here on Thursday night. And so we better be ready to rock and roll.
Coach, doing a story on post-win celebrations. When you get a win, a good win, how do you do you have a routine you go through it? Are you a beer and barbecue guy? Are you a hot tub guy? I'm just like,
Hot tub.
what? I'm just,
Maybe now with my back, I got one I can go. I think, realistically, the first thing that we do when we come off the field is we give glory where it's due, and we thank God for what he's given us and the blessings that he's bestowed. As I look back at my career, there's a verse in the Bible in Proverbs that talk about how the horse is made ready for battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. And I really feel like every success that we've had has been given to us. And so the first thing that we do is we give thanks. And even in loss, we give thanks. And we're grateful, show gratitude for what we've been given. I'm a homebody by nature. I like to, my perfect weekend is to be at the house and hanging out with my family. And usually night games are a little bit tough, but usually if we have a day game and a big win, we'll have our staff over at our house and we'll have a barbecue and maybe crack a couple cold ones and just enjoy it. I think winning games in college is difficult. It's a hard thing to do. And so I don't want to ever take that for granted. I want to make sure that we really enjoy it. We want to enjoy it for about 24 hours, and then the next day we're back to work and finding ways to improve and get better. And so I don't know if I have necessarily a tradition, like a go-to thing that we do outside of just giving thanks. So
Thanks, Coach.
All right, head coach Philip Vigil as Csu Pueblo will take on Fort Hays State going forward. Coach, thanks as always, and get that back ready to go for Thursday.
yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We